When will Microsoft Edge be allowed to Microsoft?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Actually, I don't want to do the podcast today anymore.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go.
I think I'm done.
I'm just gonna go.
Cause we way too high for you. Tripping like we got too much on. But they got love before us. Cause we staying all night long. Yo, when you walk in the club, you better believe we know what's up. Got these girls a little trance. Throwing rhythm in the dance.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to another rendition of the Bros in the Berg podcast. My name is Ryan Doyle. I'm joined by my executive producer and co-host, Asshole 1 and Dickhead 2 today. Been real aggressive as we've been starting off this podcast, so that's how we're doing the opening. We appreciate you if you're a returning viewer.
If you're watching on YouTube, you will see that Ryan is shoveling Chipotle down his gullet. And somehow,
This is an apple.
it's been okay. He has Chipotle underneath. Don't let him fool you like that. It's been like 30 minutes of him still eating fucking Chipotle. We were supposed to start 30 minutes ago, so that's why we're a little bit irritated because
It's been 30 minutes. You joined 10 minutes ago.
I was having technical difficulties. Also, it was longer ago than that. I don't know what you want from me.
Legitimately a skill issue. And the microphone doesn't even pick up my shoveling. So, I don't want to hear it.
Hey, I'm still going to complain.
What a great start.
I'm still going to complain.
Wow.
Well, of course you're going to complain. That's what you do.
All right, I'm ready to talk about Ben Simmons. We got anything about Ben Simmons in the podcast notes? Like, I'm fired up. I'm ready.
This feels like a therapy episode. Do you guys need to talk about something? I mean, I know you guys have seen each other the last two weekends, so
we spent the last
just
2
too much
weekends,
time
yeah,
together.
Too much togetherness. Yep.
I'm gonna be honest. He didn't kiss me goodbye last weekend. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm a little upset.
He was just mad that I beasted him at golf, and he drove away too fast before I
that's
could get my kiss in. I don't know what he wants from me.
What was the score?
I actually shot pretty well. Robbie said it's the best round he's seen me play, and I still shot a 93.
I shot 79 because I'm him. Basically, he put me on tour.
Damn.
Is what I'm saying. So.
Robbie, I'd like to see you go up against Gabe because Gabe also played in high school. I mean,
Okay, I feel like we'd probably be pretty equivalent. I don't know. Was he
I
like
would
good
probably
in high
agree.
school?
he
or
was
like, 'cause I would-
solid.
Yeah, I mean
Like,
that's
he
about
wasn't
what I
bad.
was. I wasn't like the top
Yeah.
of my team, but like I was solid in high school.
I think that's about what Gabe was at.
I mean,
from
if
what
Robbie
I-
didn't have vertigo for the first 9 and or could sink putts between 5 and 10 feet, he would have shot like at par.
Nice. All right, gents, let's get into this. Robbie, give me some of your thoughts on EA College Football 25. We talked about it last week, and we've gotten the opportunity to play it. What do you think about it?
My first thought is I've not gotten to play it enough, and that's mostly my own doing. I was out of town this weekend, as Ryan and I alluded to, and then I've been kind of still catching up on sleep because it took me forever to get home from said trip this weekend. So I've not gotten to play a lot, but I've very much so enjoyed it. I think I am 10 games into my dynasty.
Okay.
I think the gameplay is very fun and sufficiently challenging. There's some games where it's like all of a sudden like everything's firing on all cylinders, and other games where like it almost just feels like it's decided I'm gonna lose before the game starts. Like my players start fumbling that is true. That is a good point. But it's not even like the skill level part of it. It's just like that game just everything goes wrong. Like they fumble or they drop passes and like nothing. I didn't change anything what I'm doing, and like it's an equivalent. Like I went from playing UTEP to Sam Houston State. Like pretty equivalent like schools, and ran up the score on UTEP, got blown out by Sam Houston State the next game. So I guess maybe that's just like the difficulty part of it. Like I'm playing better one game versus the other one, but I very much so enjoyed it. The gameplay is great. I haven't had any glitches of any kind, really. Like some funky plays, but that's just playing a football video game, so that's not overly surprising.
Of course.
So I very much so enjoyed it so far, and I'm excited to play it more.
I am too. I've been having a really good time with it, but playing Oklahoma State quite a lot. Ollie Gordon is kind of ridiculous in the game. He's the best overall running back in the game, so that's a lot of fun to play with. I mean, in terms of the gameplay, it definitely feels different from Madden. It doesn't look a whole lot different. There are tons of similarities. Obviously, it's under the same company. Like it's not going to be night and day, but the gameplay is significantly different from just like a feel and a speed perspective, and I really like that, and it's a lot of fun. So it's one of the best sports games to come out in a long time, probably since like one of the early 2Ks. I would probably say is since then.
I know a lot of
so
people really like the new MLB The Show because they changed some of like the throwing mechanics and stuff. You have to like slide your thing over to hit it. Just they actually changed it, made it somewhat difficult, but I don't think it's competing with this. But I would agree, it's probably the best sports video game I've played since NCAA 14. So
there you go. There you go. Moving on, we got some sports headlines to get through. This just happened actually not too long ago, but the NBA has signed its 11-year media rights deal with Disney, NBC, and Amazon Prime Video today, after saying it was not accepting Warner Bros. Discovery $1.8 billion per year offer to continue its longtime relationship with the league. What are your thoughts on this?
Damn.
Stunning
The
analysis.
the mouse owns fucking all. It makes me sad.
Where does Warner Brothers fit? I need assistance. Where does Warner Brothers fit into this?
How insulting can I be?
I mean,
So what's changing here, guys? Because we got Disney, aka ESPN. They already did NFL games. We got NBC. Yeah. They already did NFL games. Prime Video already does NFL games.
My man, this is
the
NBA.
My brother in fucking Christ.
This is the National Basketball Association.
How do I turn off my camera?
I'm gonna need you to log off.
I don't know. I don't know why I read NFL. I'm like, what does this change? Like, what's different? I'm so confused. Got it.
Just thought the NFL was just like, yep.
Yes.
Sure.
That was the first headline. And you confused the leagues.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. We've already talked about that we knew it was leaving the Turner Broadcasting Group. So that's why I was confused. I thought we'd already gone over this. I guess it's now official, though. That's
yes, correct. Well, so TNT and the whole group made an offer. At that point, when we talked about it, they hadn't made an offer yet, but they did make an offer to compete with them a few days ago. And then the NBA said, no, thank you. So it looks like they're just getting more money on the other side, is what I would guess. I mean, that's kind of the driving factor of these relationships.
Thank you for clarifying that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. In the same vein, the WNBA announced a new 11-year media rights deal featuring partnerships with Disney, Amazon Prime, and new rights holder NBC Universal. That deal is valued at about $2.2 billion or $200 million per year. But future agreements with additional partners could bring the league's overall media deals closer to $3 billion. So obviously a lot more for the WNBA, which is amazing. I'm glad that I did see that
their per year was like way more than they've ever had before. Like it wasn't even close. Yeah. It's like the $2.2 billion is far exceeding what was already in place. So
yeah,
it's very good.
Congrats to them. Yeah, that's awesome.
You got Caitlin Clark and everyone else that hates her. That's bringing all the eyes to the WNBA.
I mean, real. Yeah.
How it go?
Getting into the NFL players are starting to report to camp. We are starting to get back in the swing of things. Obviously, football is just around the corner in about a month or so. Coming on to the 49ers, in addition to receiver Brandon Ayuk, who reported on time Tuesday and is at the facility but not practicing, a quote-unquote hold-in, the Niners are also left without star left tackle Trent Williams. Unlike Ayuk, Williams did not report for camp and is holding out for what Coach Kyle Shanahan described as contract-related issues. So, I mean, Trent Williams that's a huge, you need to re-sign Trent Williams.
ASAP. Yeah.
He is indeed huge. That is excellent.
He's like 6'5"? How tall is Trent Williams? 6'8"?
He's like 6'7".
I think he's 6'7". Yeah, I was about to say, I think he's taller than 6'5".
That's crazy.
Yeah, it actually is kind of gross.
Let me see. Oh, he is 6'5", Connor. Good call.
Oh,
okay. He is 318 pounds of man there.
Hey, almost. That's like Arch.
It is Arch. Who has more muscle, Trent or Arch?
So yeah, I mean this happens every single season, every single camp. I mean, we've done this report before. Most of the time, these things do end up getting resolved, and teams are able to pull a contract together for these players. So it's not necessarily anything to worry about at the current time. Now, if it comes to the preseason and they start not playing, that's when you gotta start to worry a little bit. But at this point, it's just reports, and we'll see if the Niners can work in a deal. Staying on the 49ers train, Kyle Shanahan said on the TK Show podcast in an episode that was posted Monday that he offered the former New England Patriots coach a spot on his San Francisco 49ers staff, but was turned down, that coach being Bill Belichick. And specifically, it was mentioned that Shanahan would have loved to have him for the defensive coordinator position.
I mean, does Bill come back to football?
It's
Like, is there? I mean, is there
Not
a
unless he's
reason
a
for
head
him
coach,
to
I don't think.
come back to football? Like, he's out there shagging 24-year-olds.
I was also gonna say, like,
living life.
yeah.
We
I was gonna say, I mean, like, who wouldn't take Bill Belichick as their DC? Like, that's like saying Connor wants Sydney Sweeney to be his girlfriend. Like, that's great, but like, so does everyone else, and like, it doesn't mean it's gonna happen, right? So, I don't.
it's-
Shanahan could say that, but it doesn't change anything. You know what I mean? What?
Yeah.
What is happening?
I think that's a great analogy. I think that hits.
Yeah.
I think that hit.
In the article and in some other reports, it was saying that I think apparently from what Shanahan said, because he's had a few conversations with Belichick, it sounds like he has a vested interest in returning to football. But to Robbie's point, I think that would only be in a head coaching position. Which, I mean, if you're Bill Belichick, like, fair, like, you probably should be able.
Also,
to get
if you're Bill Belichick, like, what do you have left to prove? Like, do you really want to come back and rebuild a team? Like,
don't let them
like a contender's not going to hire you.
Don't let them look into like that you were built by Brady. Don't let them do that.
For real.
Don't be exposed like that. Brady's already won a Super Bowl without you. You haven't.
Yeah.
You can just kind of let that narrative be on its own. If you come back and coach again and don't win a Super Bowl, then we know it was Brady and not you.
Who was carried harder, Phil Jackson or Bill Belichick?
Ooh,
Kobe and MJ
And
versus
MJ.
Tom Brady. Who was carried harder?
Damn.
I know.
Dude, to be
Belichick.
To be fair, what, Rob?
I was thinking. I think it
Now,
probably.
let's think about it in terms
is
of
Belichick.
Jackson and Belichick are similar trajectory wise because they both developed schemes that were perfect for the players that they had. So it was like they were both very good coaches, and it's hard to deny that. And the fact of like what that team and those players needed from that. For example, like Jordan, the triangle system worked great for Jordan, worked great for the Kobe and Shaq duo, and then Belichick was. I mean, Patriots football kind of became a staple of the NFL in terms of like Tom Brady was great on the game management side of things. They always had a solid defense. It was very, kind of all around balanced. So I think it's an interesting conversation.
The only thing I will give Phil Jackson is like he won the last two championships with those Kobe, like Paul Gasol teams. And like while they were good teams, they were not on the level of like the MJ teams or the Shaq Kobe teams, right? Like in terms of talent level, those last two teams were considerably worse than those two dynasties, obviously. So like he's basically done it with three different sets of teams.
Yeah.
Versus Belichick has only ever, I mean, he's done it with different sets of teams around Brady, but he's always had Brady.
But on the same level, you could argue, and I guess this would speak more to, I'm kind of contradicting myself because this would speak more to Brady, the fact that he was able to perform at such a high level with like awful receiving cores. He won a Super Bowl with a terrible receiving core, at least one of them. And so
he won a Super Bowl where Julian Edelman was his number one target, which like no offense to Jules, but like, it's not great to have him as your number one option.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right, moving to more training camp stuff. Dallas Cowboys star CeeDee Lamb, who has been unable to land the type of contract extension that other wide receivers have, is not expected to report to training camp Wednesday with the rest of his team. Jerry Jones, I hate you.
Pay the man. It's really that simple. Just pay him.
Dude, somebody was like, and I get what they're saying because yes, there is, but it's like not much of a disparity. He was saying that, this guy's asking for Justin Jefferson money and he's not worth that. I was like, but he is, because he's like just as young, and he's not quite as good as Justin Jefferson, but he's still on that upper tier, like the really upper tier about
he's a
receivers.
top 5 receiver. Under
I was going to say they don't
26. Like
they don't pay them differently based on who's the best versus who's number 3 or 4. If you're in the top 5, you get paid the same. It doesn't really matter how big that gap is between 5 and 1.
I thought that was a terrible take from that guy. I was like, he is on that level. He is a top 5.
That is lukewarm at best.
And to be fair, I don't think CeeDee Lamb is number 5, but he's probably 3 or 4.
He's unarguably top 5.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And I wouldn't put him at 5. I'd put him at 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Yep. The Packers and Jordan Love may be nearing an agreement on a contract extension, but until it's done, the starting quarterback won't participate in practice or any games this preseason.
I get he's trying to get his bag. I get it. But, like, bro, you played 1 year. Like, yeah, he had a pretty good year last year, much better than I think we thought. If we went back to listen to some of our preview podcasts last year, we shit on Jordan Love, and we were wrong.
We did.
But we did. I don't know if, like, you're starting quarterback for 1 year and we're already holding out for like a contract extension. Like that's a little much for me. I don't know. It's a little much.
I mean, Danny Dimes getting paid $40 million.
Did you see that video today where he had to throw a screen pass and he threw it like 5 yards behind the running back and everyone's like, how much are you paying this man? It was so bad.
Did you see the video of Penix throwing to Atlanta receivers? And I mean, like, I'm talking like 5 to 10 yard routes and hitting them straight in the hands. They just fucking drop it. I saw like 3 of them were like Pitts got hit straight in the hands, just fucking drop it. And the caption is like, what did Desmond Ridder do to this receiving core?
They're so nervous.
They haven't caught any passes in a year. They're not used to catching it anymore. Like, what are they supposed to do?
Dude, but I'm a Falcons truther, man. I mean, Kirko and Penix.
Here we go.
Bijan too?
I'm going to hate you all year. Wasn't you talking about fucking Falcons?
That's my number 2.
I'm going to lose it.
All right. The Minnesota Vikings and offensive
drafting
tackle.
Kyle Pitts again. I'm doing it. This is the year.
Don't do it.
This is
He
the year.
can't hurt me again. He can't do it.
The Minnesota Vikings and offensive tackle Christian Darrisaw have agreed to a 4-year extension worth up to $113 million in new money, including $77 million guaranteed. So there's a little contract extension news for you.
I always like to see the offensive lineman getting paid. Good for him. Offensive linemen are very important and don't get paid like it always. So good for him.
100%. Moving on to another contract extension, the Jacksonville Jaguars have signed Tyson Campbell to a contract extension that will make him one of the NFL's highest paid cornerbacks. I don't know why. I can't find... 4-year, $76.5 million, 53 of that guaranteed. So that's a
I don't have a reason for you, but Tyson Chandler is like the name that came to mind as I was reading that, and I'm like, that bro is definitely retired. But
he's also wasn't in the NFL. Robbie, the NFL and the NBA are not the same league.
I realized it. That's just like how I read the name, and I was like, can't read tonight, apparently.
Yeah,
my apologies.
3-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Kenny Clark and the Green Bay Packers have also agreed to a $64 million 3-year contract extension. So there's some contract extension news for you guys. That is going to wrap up our time with the NFL, and we are going
Football's right around the corner, baby.
It is
so close.
We're like 3 weeks from preseason kick.
Yep. Exactly a month from college football. The first college football game will be played a month from when we're recording this on August 24th. So we're almost there.
Looking forward to it. I slightly lied because at the very end, we do have a slight segment that will come back to the NFL that I think you gentlemen will be looking forward to. So we will come back in a little bit. But right now, we're going to do a little draft that is not sports related. We're going to do a draft of minor inconveniences. This can just be something in life that really annoys you, that really gets on your nerves. Maybe it's like the one thing that pushes you over the edge on a bad day. But we're just going to go with minor inconveniences. Robbie, if you wouldn't mind, could you randomize that draft order for me?
Question for you, Connor. How deep we go in here?
How deep do y'all want to go? 3 or 5? It's typically where we sit at.
I think let's do a nice little threesome.
It's cool with me.
A little threesome. I'm going deep in the threesome. Got it.
What?
What?
What do you mean?
What's
going on?
Anyways, it's me, then Ryan, then Connor.
Okay.
It's the first time I've had the first pick in a long time, actually. This has not happened recently. Yeah,
Connor's got piss running down his leg. He's going to fuck up the snake.
How is that any different than normal?
Ryan's face. Fellas, I'm gonna start out with one. You know, it doesn't happen overly often, but it's something that can, especially during this time of the year, you do run into it on some occasions. And it really, you know, if you're coming home from work at the end of the day and this happens to you, like it really just like ruins my night. And that's just gonna be wet socks. Like they're just a minor inconvenience, but man, does that just really it ruins my day. Like I just don't want to do anything after that. It doesn't matter if I take the socks off. I'm still just like upset. It doesn't really matter.
I feel it.
It sounds and reads just like the Family Guy. You know what grinds my fucking gears?
That's
a good one though. Yeah, I like it. I always bring a fresh pair of socks to the gym. I got to swap out of work socks into like fresh gym socks because like I don't want trench foot, even though I'm not going to get trench foot. But like, I don't
that's
want like
that's a little
toes.
much, but like I understand, I guess.
Bro, so your like feet don't like actively drip sweat?
Not when I'm at
Hell, you
work.
might need to
No,
get that
Like, you're-
checked,
it'd be
brother.
one thing. It'd be one thing if you're going from the gym to work. You need to bring socks. I get that, but like you're going from work to the gym. What the fuck are you doing at work? I know what you're
Did
doing.
you
You're
not
sitting behind a
hear-
desk all day.
Did you not hear the conversation
Damn.
with Mason this past weekend?
I don't think so.
He like has such active sweat glands
Oh,
in his
yes, I did
feet
hear
and
this,
his
yes.
hands that like sweat will drip off his feet and hands.
That's there was a word for it. It was like something hyper.
No, it's like
something.
hyper. Yeah.
Or I'm just not going to say it on the podcast.
Yeah, that's fair. But that's gonna be my first pick.
Ryan, what's yours?
Honor, I've barely given this any thought. But the thought that I gave it, I had one immediately like just come to mind.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with like a loose outlet.
Dude, that's a good one. That's a really good one,
That's a
actually.
good
I like that.
That is a good one.
I mean, like obviously, like if you're at your own place or whatever, like that's some things that you can replace, like loose outlets, couple bucks, and if you have like any kind of like brain power, you can swap it out. But
But
like
to be honest, if I'm renting, I'm probably still not going to pay to replace it. To be completely
So
honest,
true.
like
But like, imagine you're one of those people that got stranded in the Atlanta airport, and you finally get to a power outlet, and that shit just keeps falling out, and your phone dies. You just got to sit there and like play on your abacus or something.
you have to know in the Atlanta airport, that's like 75% of the outlets. Like,
Correct.
you have a much better chance of finding a loose one than you do finding a good one there.
I literally had a conversation today with coworkers at lunch about how the Atlanta airport is my least favorite place on this earth.
I think it gets a bad rap, but I will admit the charging situation is poor at best.
Correct.
Don't like it.
I also
Thank
don't
you.
connect
Yeah,
through
that's
there,
my
so like
pick.
I don't spend that much time in the airport. I just go to my
I hear
gate
you.
and fly away. So it's a little bit different.
Ryan, I think that's a good pick. I think that's a solid pick.
I think it's a solid pick.
He's
Yeah.
king.
I got the snake here. I got the 1-2 back to back. So my first one I'm gonna go with Dorito/Cheeto fingers. That grinds my gears. I just can't get it off my hand.
It's even worse when someone else touches one of your things with the Doritos or
Vomit.
Cheetos fingers. Like
Nope.
that's so bad.
Dude,
Like-
and then like you don't realize how bad it is sometimes. And if you go to touch like your keyboard or your phone, and you're like, "Holy crap! I have to clean my entire body now." Even though
Did
it's
you guys
like
have
really
that one? Did you guys have that one friend in high school like always had Doritos or Cheetos fingers, and like you'd be playing video games, and they would always somehow manage to have it right when they get handed the controller, and then the controller is just ruined for the rest of the night for everyone else. Like that's what comes to mind when I think of the Doritos fingers.
I also just hate the feeling of it. Like, and then you
Yeah,
look
that's fair.
like you look weird if you suck it off, pause,
Nah.
but then you also
No,
look.
I don't even think about it. I just suck that shit right off. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, what? What are you
What's
talking about?
happening? Also, don't love that for a first round pick. I'm gonna keep it a firm stack with you. I kind of fuck with the shit on my hands. Pause. Like one of my favorite parts about like getting elbow deep and killing a whole party sized bag of Doritos.
What? Okay.
Is the buildup of that on my fingers, and then it's like a reward for ingesting 3,000 calories in one sitting. You just,
Dude, you can't.
FAT.
You can't say I kind of mess with the shit on my hands and then say I'm elbow deep and not expect me to, like that is a crazy segue.
what do you mean?
We're struggling so far this episode. Things are not going
No, this is
well.
good.
Phrasing.
All right, my second pick is when you lie down to go to sleep and you're closing your eyes and you're ready to fall asleep. And you
Fully
have to
clothed,
pee.
yeah.
And
Mhm, yep.
In jeans, my
Socks
sleeping
on.
jeans.
in jeans and a polo, yep. Get into bed, ready to go.
but yeah, almost falling asleep and then having to pee is like
or
the
like just
worst
having
thing
to get
ever.
up to like maybe you didn't lock the door, or like you get up to check
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
if the door is locked and then it is,
Yeah.
like things like that. Yeah, for sure.
And it takes me years to fall back asleep because I'm not Ryan who can fall asleep in like 30 seconds.
God, don't get it.
It's
It's a
insane.
talent.
Our
It's a
dad
talent.
can do it
literally is
too.
a talent.
It frustrates the hell out of me.
If I fell
I would
asleep
pay
less than-
anything.
Kylie also gets very annoyed because I immediately
It's
start
so
fucking
aggravating.
sawing logs.
If I fall asleep in less than 30 minutes, like that's a good night of going to
Yes,
sleep.
yes.
Like if it's
100%.
less than 30,
Last night was bad. It was about 15.
Dude, that's
like
average.
that's my best case. That's like
Yeah.
my best case is 15.
Same. Rob and I linked up.
Yep,
Pause.
for real.
Ryan, second pick.
Let me think. This one's kind of like a personal one, but I'm gonna go with getting a low tire pressure or low pressure in your tires in the morning.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, because
It's
you know that you can't, like, you shouldn't go fill it up, like you want to because the fucking light is on. Like,
or if it gets like to a certain point, it's like, man, I really should fill it up, but I'm fucking lazy. It's like 30, 31, and it's like not too low, but it's like you should go fill it up, and it's like shit's just like in the back of my head, and I'm like, so that's a minor inconvenience.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think that's a good one.
My next one's gonna be somewhat specific. But let's say that you're at like one of the few events per year that you have to wear a suit, and maybe you're at the wedding, maybe you're at I don't know, you have a big work event, you have to wear a suit. It happens from time to time, and you're standing there, and all of a sudden you got a shit, and you're wearing a full suit, tie, everything,
because you got to get completely naked.
Well, no, I pause. Connor, the type of guy to completely drop trowel at the urinal.
You joke, but Connor definitely
What?
is like
Whoa!
shorts around ankles type of dude.
Oh my!
Way too late. Like you like.
Oh my
I
God!
have like distinct memory of walking into the bathroom in like first grade and like one of those kids with like their pants around their ankles. Like, right, that's normal. Even at first grade, you understand like that kid's kind of like, whatever. But like Connor's probably doing that shit deep into third grade. It's like that's
a tough scene.
This is a lie.
Slander? Is this slander?
This is a lie. Okay. There's a difference between at school and in the privacy of my own home.
Brother, there's no reason to drop trowel. And actually, this is going to turn into a whole new segment. I am one where if I am at home and I'm urinating, I am sitting down every single time
100%,
because my aim is
yes.
People that say that's we'll get into that. People that say that that's like weird or like fruity or whatever
Brother,
you want
I'm
to call
lazy.
it.
It has nothing to do other with the fact that I'm a fucking lazy piece of shit. And I want to sit down. Like, it's really that simple.
Thank you. It's a lot of work to carry this much fat around. I'm gonna take a load off every time I can.
So my pick is shitting in a suit because you're just so concerned about like accidentally dropping something from like your suit into the toilet, and then like your day's just actually ruined. Like, it's a really stressful time, and you can't really even like check yourself fully to make sure you didn't get yourself like covered in shit. Like, it's kind of hard to check the whole suit. There's a lot of moving pieces. So that's gonna be my second round pick there.
Did you guys ever have moments where you were like kind of maybe around my age or whatever, and your brain's still developing, and then things that didn't make sense to you before just like randomly started to click? Like, did that ever happen to you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Ryan, our brains are technically fully developed now. Like, our brains are no longer developed anymore. It's unfortunate. Yeah. GG's.
I remember having that moment at some point like last year in a bathroom in a stall where it was like one of those stalls where on the door it has like the little hook on it or whatever, the rod on it.
You mean most of them, yeah.
Yeah, most of them. And then I realized, I was like, oh, that's like for like jackets. That's to put.
What is wrong with you?
Or book bags, or
I didn't really like.
I mean, what did you think it was for? Like hanging your used teepee? Like
to be fair, some of them are like a doorstop. Some of them are meant to be a doorstop as well, like that. But they also double as a hook. Like, that's the whole point.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I think it was because I used it for that, and then I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm.
All right, Rob, what's your third pick?
I got one more pick. I'm gonna go with whenever you're plugging in a USB and you plug it in wrong, and then you flip it over, and you plug it in wrong again, and then you finally get it right somehow. Like, you have to go back and forth. Like, that's the worst fucking feeling. Like, how dumb am I? Like, am I really that dumb? Like,
I can't believe they got to the third round.
Someone's getting fired
on my scouting team.
That is a
Oh, it's
great
brutal.
value right there.
I need to
God
trade for
damn
him.
it.
That's crazy.
Nah, can't do it.
That's
That's
brutal.
wild. Great pick.
Thank you.
Um,
Shout out the scouting department. They do their jobs around here for real.
For real.
I'm actually going to go with another one similar to Robbie's in the defecation category. Mine is going to be when you really got to shit. And there's no two ways about it, but you're in a swimming pool, so you have to get out wet. And go,
This is a good
in
one
the house
too.
to shit.
Or a shower. Yeah, or a
Yeah.
shower after, like in the middle of a shower.
So shitting after a shower is a tough scene too.
Yeah,
That's what I meant.
It's a
Yeah.
tough scene.
brother, I will get out of the shower soaking wet, drop a
Shit.
nuke, and then get back in. I
That's
refuse.
fair.
What?
I refuse to shit after I'm totally done with the shower.
Yeah,
It's got to be at
'cause you
least
just got
30 minutes.
clean.
It's
Yeah,
eating.
agree.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
So shitting while wet
crazy.
is basically the summation of yours. Getting out of the pool wet and you have to shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, got it.
I just didn't expect so many of these to revolve around.
I'm just gonna track water in the house, and then my bathing
Yeah.
suit's kind of stuck to me because I'm fat, and then you can't really wipe super well because your cheeks are wet, right? So you're just leaving spotty
Uh-huh.
wipe job. I mean, it's just terrible all around.
All right.
We should have saved this for the later.
Yeah,
segment.
this should have been the other one. Yeah.
This is legit gooning.
All right, my third pick and my last pick to round it off is going to be having a singular nostril clogged. It is the most infuriating thing. And then it makes you think back to oh my God, I used to be able to breathe well, and you miss those times, and you're I don't value those times enough that I am not stuffed up. You know what I'm saying, Rob?
That's fair. But when you're laying in bed, tossing and turning, and you get that 1 second where it's kind of moving between nostrils and it's clear, and you're holy shit, this is what my life used to be like, and now I'm forever stuck to be stuffed up in one nostril while I'm sleeping.
100%.
Brother, I'm gonna blow your fucking mind. It's called the nasal cycle. It's a subconscious alternating partial congestion and decongestion of the nasal cavities in human and other animals. So essentially, one passage gets inflamed, the other one decompresses, and it cycles constantly. That is
Brian's been
a
through a lot of
naturally
stuff.
occurring thing. I just saw this I don't know 2 days ago on a reel, and I was like, "Holy fuck! This is what I've been bitching about this forever."
This explains so
didn't
much.
Ryan had a deviated septum. The process of fixing that, to my knowledge, was not an enjoyable experience for my brother.
I got something going on with my septum too. I've just never gotten it fixed. So hopefully it'll be all right.
I just got a big ass nose. I mean, I can't do much about that. I mean, I
shit's
could,
a
but,
bitch, brother.
it is what it is.
I had one honorable mention. Hangnail was also up there for me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That shit is mad annoying. It just does it.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything about it. It's just there.
Non-urgent traffic, you don't really have to get anywhere, but there's just really bad traffic, and you're like, holy crap.
I would
go
just
home?
traffic anytime that you're not going to work, because traffic is always it is a minor inconvenience at the end of the day, but it is annoying.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to some more of the sports stuff. We have some Olympics stuff. U.S. Open champion Coco Gauff will be the female flag bearer for the United States at the Paris Olympics opening ceremony, joining four-time NBA champion LeBron James as the male
My sugar
flag
plum.
bearer. He's the GOAT. He's the king.
Sugar plum.
Secondly, American rapper Snoop Dogg will be among the torchbearers carrying the Olympic flame in the final stretch before the opening ceremony of the Paris Games on Friday.
It's why? I mean, no disrespect to Snoop, but I'm just curious, why?
Are you disrespecting Snoop? That's, dude.
I'm not. I promise. I would never. I would never do.
Feels
such
like
a thing,
you
Mr.
are.
Snoop Dogg. I'm very sorry. I'm just curious. How did he get that job?
That is a good question. I also want to
he has no relation to Paris that I know of. He's never been in the Olympics. I don't know. I'm just curious. If it was an LA
Jay-Z.
Olympics, I wouldn't even question.
In Paris.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah,
Jay-Z was in Paris.
Kanye. Yeah, that's a good point.
They can't use Kanye.
Who was in Paris?
Have you ever seen that clip?
Jay-Z was in Paris all the time.
Jay-Z was in Paris. It's Kanye was why do you think we
was in
called the
Paris.
song in Paris, and he was like, "Cause was in Paris," and so Jay-Z was in Paris. All right,
Indeed.
Moving on to the MLB. Ryan's gonna walk us through the MLB standings. After
baseball. It's again continuing to happen. So that's pretty important. Starting out in everyone's favorite division, the American League East, we got the Baltimore Orioles leading the stupid Yankees by a game and a half. Both teams are sitting at 60 wins, but the Yankees have somehow played 3 more games. You got the Red Sox, Tampa Bay Rays, and Toronto Blue Jays following up the rear. Cleveland Guardians putting together a solid ass season so far. And they're actually 3-7 in the last 10, but they are 60-40 right now. 4.5 games ahead of the Twins, 5 ahead of the Royals, Tigers, and then White Sox, who are struggling. They've lost 9 in a row. Tough scene for the South Side
like
boys.
that. Yeah.
Heading out to the AL West, the bona fide worst division in baseball this year. Astros only 4 games over 500, leading the division. Mariners, Rangers, Angels, Athletics in that order. Athletics got 40 games, won 40 games. They're actually only 13 back of the division lead, if that gives you any indication of how shit this division's been.
That's tough. That's a tough scene.
The Athletics are actually 500 at home. Crazy work. They're just abysmal on the road.
Yep.
Out to the NL East, your baseball leading Phillies, Robbie's least favorite team, sitting at 64-38. Followed by the Braves, nine back, Mets, Nationals, and Marlins.
Braves
out in the Central. Out in the Central, Brewers still holding on pretty nicely to a 6-game lead, followed by Cardinals, Pirates, Reds, and Cubs. That division is actually pretty close. It's the closest for the delta between the first place team and the last place team. Cubs are only 11 back of said Brewers. And finally, out into the NL West, got the Dodgers leading said division at 61 games, followed by the Padres, Diamondbacks, Giants, and Rockies. The wild card is going to be a lot of fun out in the National League, as it was last year. You have 9 teams within 5 games of a wild card spot right now. So it's gonna once again come down to the wire. But yeah, that's baseball after the All-Star break.
Thank you, Ryan. You're one of our best. We will move in.
That sounded so fucking disingenuous. Sounded like my boss giving like a midterm review.
Sorry, that's
you were entirely satisfactory this quarter, Ryan. Thank you.
You were in fact one of the employees at Globocore.
I watched Across the Spider-Verse last night. There's a joke in it where there's like a Lego universe in the movie, and basically he reports into like the head guy, and it's the Lego Spider-Man. He's like, "Thank you, Peter. You're one of our best." The Lego guy is like, it's so funny. All right, moving into the NBA, the Boston Celtics locked up another member of their championship core on Sunday, agreeing to a 4-year, $45 million extension with Sam Hauser.
They really said, fuck it, spend all the money we got.
Yeah,
just go ahead and dump it all out, like whatever.
You think Horford's retiring?
Who?
Horford? You guys think Al Horford's done?
And you just who Horford?
I didn't hear the name. I really didn't. And for some reason, I thought you said Vogel. I'm like, what the fuck does he have to do with anything? That's why I said who. But no. Maybe not if the whole core is coming back. Like, get one more. Why not? Like, you're probably going to be the favorite next year.
Go out on the win, though? Like, just, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Mean,
that's always been.
So I was just reading this story earlier on ESPN. Currently, right now, after Hauser extension, Celtics have 11 players under contract for next season, or the 25-26 season, excuse me, for a combined $225 million. If the roster is filled out with their own first-round picks and 2 players on minimum salaries, projected to each be roughly worth like $2.3 million, that would push Boston's payroll to about $233 million, more than $45 million over the projected luxury tax line. Beginning next offseason, when much harsher penalties kick in for the teams that are well into the luxury tax, the Celtics would be staring down the gun barrel of a projected tax bill of $280 million,
Good
giving
Lord.
Boston roughly $513 million in combined salary and tax penalties for the 25-26 season alone. The current record stands at $388 million, set by the Warriors in the past season.
Yeah.
And the projected record holder is the Suns, who is going to break it this season with $433 million.
Crazy. Imagine paying over
Your
your salary totally and just a tax.
It's not money, the tax is just by an entertainment league. They just said this is what we decided. Yeah. You're going to pay $250 million just because we decided this.
Crazy.
But it shows you how much fucking money like a good basketball team brings in.
I was just going to look. I was like, how much is the Celtics revenue? Like, I'm just curious.
All right, move into the next thing. Big man Evan Mobley and the Cleveland Cavaliers have agreed to a 5-year, $224 million extension that could be worth as much as $269 million. I mean, he's a big part of that team, so I mean that's a good signing. Obviously, these bad.
I saw a lot of people saying that's an overpay, but he's a young guy who's a great defensive asset. Like, I don't know that you can say that's an overpay.
He's what, your third best player on your team, like second best player, like it's Mitchell and then. All right. New York Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau has agreed on a 3-year contract extension that will take him through the 2027-2028 season. I mean, after the season that the Knicks had, can't argue with the contract. So
it's the Villanova boys and Thibodeau running it back.
But do you think they called Jay Wright to see how much they would have to pay Jay Wright to come coach the Knicks? Do you think a phone call was made?
I think it went straight to voicemail.
That's probably fair. Damn. I think that my guy's making plenty of money being a CBS analyst right now.
Correct.
Moving off of basketball real quick, we have one thing for the Bama boys right here. Nick Saban's legacy at the University of Alabama is being honored in another big way, as reports claim the school is planning to rename its football field after him.
Bryant Denny Stadium holding Nick Saban Field.
Yeah. This is what we always assume they would do. They will also eventually name a road after him in Tuscaloosa at some point. Every other national championship winning coach has a road named after them in Tuscaloosa. So I'm sure there will be a Saban Avenue, Saban Drive.
Bro, they might rename I-20 from like this. They might rename I-20 in Tuscaloosa like zip code to be fucking Saban Drive.
I feel like when you rename an interstate, it has to be like something Memorial Highway. So like I feel like they could do the road before that. That's true. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, Connor, what will we get from Brahms?
Okay, so let me tell you something real quick. So there was a Brahms that opened up kind of in the Northwich and holy words. There was a Brahms that opened up in the North Richland Hills area. And so I tend to think of Brahms as very mid on the food side of things. I think their food is very average, but I did have a Brahms in Oklahoma when I went back this last time. It was the best Brahms I'd ever had in my life. The fries were really good. The burger was really good. So I was like, it kind of made me want to try it again from a different location. So I saw this coming back. I tried it mid. It was just it's just
you caught him on a good day. You caught him on a good day.
No, literally, it was so disappointing. But no, it was just like a bacon cheeseburger and some fries. So something pretty average.
Something light.
Getting into our last thing here, and our episode is a little short today. Full disclosure to the audience, we do need to record 2 of these today because we're not sure if we're going to be able to record next week. So each of these is going to be a little short, and then we're recording one right after this that will be out next week. We're going to play a little bit of Washed or Not, gentlemen. I know this is a fan favorite. This is a podcast favorite, but this is going to be a little different. We're not going to be talking about if they are like at this very moment currently washed. It's going to be NFL edition, and we are going to discuss if as the season goes on, are they going to become washed? Or you can just say as soon as they enter the season, you think they're going to be washed.
And can I ask a clarifying question? Yeah. Are we discussing this in terms of like fantasy washed or not, or player washed or not? So those are 2 different things, right? You can be a really washed fantasy asset, but still be a good NFL player. And vice versa.
I would say, like, as an NFL player.
As an NFL player, okay. In terms of contributions to their franchise.
Yeah, how good of a player.
And by their franchise, I'm not talking about my dynasty team. Got it.
Yeah.
But, like, one of those.
So I would say all 5 of these guys are kind of on the verge. One of them might already be in the watch territory, and you'll know who I mean when I get there. Number 1, do you think Travis Kelce? Do you think Travis Kelce will be washed?
No, because he still has Patrick Mahomes.
This is true.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be hard to call Kelsey washed at any point until he actually acts washed. People have kind of been calling for it for a while. It just hasn't necessarily happened yet.
I mean, he had the ankle injury last year. That was kind of his first serious thing in first serious injury in like a long time. But like honestly didn't derail his production that much when he came back, and for a little bit, but
and
not a long
the
time.
Chiefs receiving core is probably a little bit better than it was last year, which actually probably
Definitely.
helps him.
Dude, Xavier Worthy, that he could be a beast on that team.
And Hollywood Brown and
Yeah.
Rashee Rice theoretically gets better, if he stops being an actual dumbass.
He's going to get arrested driving to the stadium.
Yeah.
On that LaMelo ball grind.
For he is.
LaMelo's going to fucking kill somebody. He's such an idiot.
All right, will Aaron Rodgers be washed?
I see. I knew this one was on there. I
Mhm.
knew it was on there. I knew this was coming.
Yes.
Oh,
I hate that
Robbie's
I'm
not
on
so
the
sure.
edge. I hate that I'm on the edge.
Don't
I just
edge
know
Aaron Rodgers.
because I hate him so much that he'll somehow be good this year. So I'm gonna say that he's not washed, knowing that it means that he will be washed this year.
Robbie, he took 2 steps and tore his Achilles. Like he might be washed.
That was the MetLife turf.
Yes.
That was the MetLife turf monster. Okay, that gets the best of us. That gets the best of us.
No bullshit. MetLife turf needs to be just thrown into the sun. I want all
It's
NFL
like the worst turf in
fields-
the NFL. And
I want all NFL fields to be grass. FIFA has that rule.
So do players.
I do not that league makes so much goddamn fucking money. There is no reason that we can't have all grass fields.
I agree, especially if all the players are calling for it. I think it's kind of ridiculous.
I think that will come up with like the next bargaining agreement. I think with all like the fucking ACL tears and like Achilles tears you've been seeing, I think it's a player safety longevity. Like it needs to happen.
Yep. Well, it was funny because there's a show out on Netflix right now called Receiver, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, there's a clip of him where he catches the ball and then he goes about 2 yards upfield and then he slides because he doesn't want to get hit or whatever. And his coach talking to him on the sideline, he's like, "Why, pick up that extra 2 yards or whatever?" He's like, "Coach, I'm not taking any extra hits. It's like your best ability is your availability." And he's like, he's right. I mean, especially right now, that's what you should do. He's like, "I'm not going to beat 3 safeties and a linebacker. It's just."
He's not trying to make a roster spot. Like he's the number one option literally on your team. Like like catch the ball, get the rep for like the defensive guys, but other than that, you don't need to be practicing tackling drills. Like fuck.
I think I know your answer already, gents, but this was on a few lists. So, will Russell Wilson be washed?
Yes, has been. Has been.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's not been great. He's fighting with Justin Fields right now for a starting spot, and that's
so that is my next question. Like, I don't think it matters if Russ is washed or not because the answer is yes. It matters like how soon or how late into the season are Steelers fans calling to see like a change potentially.
Yeah.
Here's a hot take for you. I think that Justin Fields will start more games for the Steelers this year than Russell Wilson will.
I think he sees a lot of playing time.
Did you see they were theoretically using him on kickoff returns?
I think that was not true. I think that was bad reporting by someone. I think both him and Tomlin were both like, no, we're not doing that.
I think Tomlin's definitely going to get Fields into some like red zone like wrinkle plays. 100%. I think but he's going to start doing some shit, and then Pittsburgh fans are going to start calling for him to start because he has like a couple of really good plays. Russ starts shitting himself. Like
I think Russ is going to get like 6 games in, and they're going to be like 1-5 or 2-4, and then Justin Fields will take over for the rest of the year.
I can literally see that. Like I just saw that happen on ESPN. Yeah. I just saw that.
And Russell Wilson has been benched following the Steelers 2-5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, will Derrick Henry be washed?
No, he's literally a robot. Like, he'll be fine.
Well, he tore his ACL
He's in-
last year.
He's in Baltimore now, right? Dude,
This
I
is-
can't
I was
keep
about
the
to say,
fucking running back straight.
This is the best offense Derrick Henry has been on in the NFL.
Yes.
Correct.
I think he'll be
Dude,
just
yes.
fine.
Like Ryan Tannehill was so bad. I know
Yeah.
they benched him, but like it was crazy how bad he was.
He's
He was always not a
washed.
great quarterback, but like he's
Washed.
bad. Yeah, he's like really washed. And then the last one, will Kirk Cousins be washed?
This is
Don't say.
Kirk Cousins wash is a good one because
I'm going to say washed for this
Damn
specific season coming off of an injury. I'm not saying that Kirk Cousins doesn't have a
Damn
good
it.
couple years left in him going into a new system off of a season-ending injury. I think he's going to get off to a very, very slow start in Atlanta.
when is he projected to like come back early in the season? Like,
I think he'll be ready week one. I
projected
think
to
he
start,
got
yeah.
injured. Yeah, I think he got injured early enough in the season that he'll be back week one.
Mhm.
I mean, and I know I already put like Rodgers in the wash category for the very the same fucking injury, but he's younger than Rodgers, and
He's still kind of old. Like
he's still kind of old. But like, you can come back from those injuries nowadays. You saw what fucking Adrian Peterson did.
especially as a quarterback. Like yeah,
For sure, but I
100%.
just think it's going to be slow. Also, we're talking about Adrian Peterson, who is an athletic freak of nature, versus Kirk Cousins,
Fair.
who
But-
not to say he's not
Who,
athletic,
like what,
but he's
Rob?
not Adrian Peterson. He's not Adrian Peterson. Let's be real.
But the fact that a couple of chuds that own like a 100 listener sports podcast are thinking Kirk Cousins is washing on, that Falcons decided to give him a 3-year, $120 million contract, and then
it's
take an
crazy.
injury-prone quarterback in the top 10.
An old ass injury prone. Even though
is
I love him.
a choice.
Yeah.
It's the Falcons. It's really that simple. It's
But
not.
Ryan is once again going to draft Kyle Pitts for
Yeah.
fantasy football.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's
See, Connor, this year he's just great value.
see what you're forgetting is everyone else has given up on him, as they should, and I have not. So I'm still going to draft him.
Brother, he's on my dynasty
Me with
team.
Michael
He's
Thomas
starting week
the last
one.
3 years.
Yeah,
He's
It's either
starting
him
week
or Musgrave for Green Bay, and
Yikes.
Pitts is getting the start.
All right, Robbie, sign us off.
For myself, Ryan and Connor, thank you for listening to this slightly abbreviated episode of the Bros of the Berg podcast. We will have another episode ready next week after listening to this one. Obviously, we won't drop both at the same time, but there will be something out next week, so keep an eye out for that. But until next time, please gamble responsibly, and thank you for listening.